I am going through something challenging right now. I will get to that part in a minute, but I am a person who struggled into my early 30s with suppressing my feelings. I knew I did it, but maybe not to the full extent. Definitely not to the full extent. So when we started therapy, my therapist would continually ask me how I felt about things. I would tell him what I think, and he would once again ask me how I felt. And I had a hard time differentiating what he meant. To give you an example, through infant loss, I definitely cried, but it was only when the feeling was so overwhelming that I had no other choice but to feel it. Anytime it felt like I had control over that choked up feeling, or stressful feeling, or angry feeling, you name it, I would choose to either fully reject it or maybe feel it like a tiny smidge and then push it down and move on. This extended across my life through any given category, not just loss. So I could formulate thoughts and explain experiences and other things through the lens of my brain, but this was always detached from my feelings about it all. When my therapist and I got to the bottom of when this started, I had a lot of shame about it. They encouraged me to think about this through the lens of a coping mechanism that I developed at an early age that was then reinforced through a lot of life. Our coping mechanisms serve a purpose. They can make us feel safe inside, and they can bring us comfort, and we can fully accept this about ourselves in love and without judgment, that at a certain time in our life, we did our best to protect ourselves inside the only way we knew how. But there comes a point in life when that coping mechanism no longer serves us and hinders us from further growth. And we also now know that research backs up the fact that there is a huge correlation between unresolved trauma and physical health problems. When we don't feel, those emotions don't just poof into the air, they remain inside. And whether we acknowledge it or not, it affects so much on the inside and on the out. I don't believe you can force yourself to be ready to feel. I believe that our bodies and hearts and minds are ready to feel things in their own timeline, and we have to feel really safe first. But what I'm trying to say is that essentially I had a vault inside of me and no idea how to crack it open. To make a long story short, through a lot of time and effort and learning, I'm more and more connected to my feelings than ever before, and I know it's only getting better. So back to the hard thing. Through this challenging experience, I had to continue practicing honoring every feeling that arose inside of me throughout. Things like letting myself cry and talking it out when I needed to, and choosing not to hide the pain from the people in closest proximity to me. Whereas in the past, I would choose to go inward and not let people know. The most beautiful thing happened amidst it all. The people who swooped in to help after hearing about my experience had walked very similar roads and all expressed to me in their own way that being able to reach a hand out to someone who is going through it right now was such a good thing. Life comes with a lot of pain. It's inevitable. And isn't it kind of the best case scenario that we can take these hard things, experience them fully, heal from them, and then be able to turn around and use it for good? I used to believe this lie that I didn't even want to be dealing with my feelings or didn't know how, so the last thing I wanted to do was burden someone else with them. But this is just an old thought pattern that reinforced my old coping mechanism. The truth is that we weren't designed to go through life alone, and especially not during times of pain. Meeting our feelings deeply means giving ourselves the tools and the wisdom and the experience to be able to help others through their pain. It's a gift, one of the best gifts we can give each other, in my opinion. If you are someone who struggles to feel the full extent of your own feelings, let me just tell you now that there is so much beauty and depth and love on the other side. But you are exactly where you're supposed to be right now, and you can practice loving yourself right now as you are, vault or no vault.